The Hunger Games is a series of young adult dystopian novels written by American author Suzanne Collins. The first 3 novels are part of a trilogy following teenage protagonist Katniss Everdeen, and the 4th book is a prequel set 64 years before the original. The novels in the trilogy are titled The Hunger Games, 2008, Catching Fire, 2009, and Mockingjay, 2010. Each was adapted for film, establishing the Hunger Games film series, with the film adaptation of Mockingjay split into 2 feature-length motion pictures. The first 2 books in the series were both New York Times bestsellers, and Mockingjay topped all U.S. bestseller lists upon its release. By the time the film adaptation of The Hunger Games was released in 2012, the publisher had reported over 26 million Hunger Games trilogy books in print, including movie tie-in books. The Hunger Games universe is a dystopia set in Panem, a North American country consisting of the wealthy capital and 13 districts in varying states of poverty. Every year, children from the first 12 districts are selected via duct lottery to participate in a compulsory televised battle royale death match called the Hunger Games. The 13th district was also subjected to this, but they led a rebellion against the capital and brought them to surrender. Since District 13 specialized in nuclear weaponry, the capital quickly surrendered and agreed to a peace deal. They both agreed that the residents of District 13 would all move underground and the land above would be bombed to make it seem like the capital had won. The novels were all well received. In August 2012, the series ranked second, exceeded only by the Harry Potter series in NPR's poll of the top 100 teen novels, which asked voters to choose their favorite young adult books. On August 17, 2012, Amazon announced the Hunger Games trilogy as its top seller, surpassing the record previously held by the Harry Potter series. As of 2014, the trilogy has sold more than 65 million copies in the US alone. The Hunger Games trilogy has been sold in 56 territories in 51 languages to date. A prequel novel, titled The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, about the early days of the Hunger Games, featuring a young Coriolanus Snow as the protagonist, was released on May 19, 2020. The Hunger Games trilogy takes place in an unspecified future time, in the dystopian, post-apocalyptic nation of Panem, located in North America. The country consists of a wealthy capital city, located in the Rocky Mountains, surrounded by 12, originally 13, poorer districts ruled by the capital. The capital is lavishly rich and technologically advanced, but the districts are in varying states of poverty. The trilogy's narrator and protagonist, Katniss Everdeen, lives in District 12, the poorest region of Panem, located in Appalachia, where people regularly die of starvation. As punishment for a past rebellion against the capital, called the Dark Days, in which District 13 was destroyed, 1 boy and 1 girl from each of the 12 remaining districts, between the ages of 12 and 18, are selected by lottery to compete in an annual pageant called the Hunger Games. The games are a televised event in which the participants, called tributes, are forced to fight to the death in a dangerous public arena. The winning tribute and his or her home district are then rewarded with food, supplies, and riches. The purposes of the Hunger Games are to provide entertainment for the capital, and to remind the districts of the capital's power and its lack of remorse or forgiveness for the failed rebellion of the current competitors' ancestors. Each book in the Hunger Games trilogy has 3 sections of 9 chapters each. Collins has said this format comes from her playwriting background, which taught her to write in a 3-act structure. Her previous series, The Underland Chronicles, was written in the same way. She sees each group of 9 chapters as a separate part of the story, and comments still call those divisions act breaks. Collins says she drew inspiration for the series from both classical and contemporary sources. Her main classical source of inspiration is the Greek myth of Theseus and the Minotaur, in which, as a punishment for past crimes, Minos forces Athens to sacrifice 7 youths and 7 maidens to the Minotaur, which kills them in a vast labyrinth. Collins says that even as a child, she was stunned by the idea since it was just so cruel to force Athens to sacrifice its own children. Collins also cites as a classical inspiration the Roman gladiator games. She feels 3 key elements create a good game: an all-powerful and ruthless government, people forced to fight to the death, and the game's role as a source of popular entertainment. A contemporary source of inspiration was Collins' recent fascination with reality television programs. She says they are like the Hunger Games because the games are not just entertainment, but also a reminder to the districts of their rebellion. On a tired night, Collins says that while she was channel surfing the television, she saw people competing for a prize and then saw footage of the Iraq War. She described how the two combined in an unsettling way to create her first ideas for the series. The Hunger Games is the first book in the series and was released on September 14, 2008. The Hunger Games follows 16-year-old Katniss Everdeen, a girl from District 12 who volunteers for the 74th Hunger Games in place of her younger sister Primrose Everdeen. Also selected from District 12 is Peeta Mellark, who once saved Katniss from starvation when they were children. They are mentored by their district's only living victor, Haymitch Abernathy, who won 24 years earlier and has since led a solitary life of alcoholism. Peeta confesses his longtime secret love for Katniss in a televised interview prior to the games. This revelation stuns Katniss, who usually does not allow herself to think of romantic attraction due to her traumatic childhood and her fear of losing future children to the Hunger Games. However, she believes that Peeta is only feigning love for her as a tactic for the games. In the arena, Peeta saves Katniss's life multiple times without her realizing. Katniss allies with Rue, a young tribute from District 11 who reminds Katniss of her sister. When Rue is killed, Katniss places flowers around her body, as an act of defiance toward the capital. The remaining tributes are alerted to a rule change allowing tributes from the same district to win as a team. Katniss finds a seriously wounded Peeta and, rather than compete alone and be unencumbered by him, she risks her life and nurses him back to health. Haymitch advises her to feign feelings for Peeta in order to gain wealthy sponsors, who can provide crucial supplies to the star-crossed lovers during the games. As she allows herself to get close to Peeta, she develops real feelings for him. When all of the other tributes are dead, the rule change is abruptly revoked. With neither willing to kill the other, Katniss comes up with a solution: a double suicide by eating poisonous berries. This forces the authorities to concede that they have both won the games, just in time to save their lives. During and after the games, Katniss's genuine feelings for Peeta grow, and she struggles to reconcile them with the fact that their relationship developed under duress. Haymitch warns her that the danger is far from over. The authorities are furious at being made fools, and the only way to try to allay their anger is to continue to pretend that her actions were because of her love for Peeta and nothing else. On the journey home, Peeta is dismayed to learn of the deception. Catching Fire is the second installment in the series, released on September 1, 2009. In Catching Fire, which begins 6 months after the conclusion of the Hunger Games, Katniss learns that her defiance in the previous novel has started a chain reaction that has inspired rebellion in the districts. President Snow threatens to harm Katniss's family and friends if she does not help to defuse the unrest and marry Peeta. Meanwhile, Peeta has become aware of Katniss's disingenuous love for him, but while he feels sad, he does not pressure her in any way. He has also been informed of Snow's threats, so he promises to help keep up the act to spare the citizens of District 12. Katniss's best friend, Gale Hawthorne, confesses his love for Katniss, which shocks and confuses her. Katniss and Peeta tour the districts as victors and plan a public wedding. While they follow Snow's orders and keep up the ruse, Katniss and Peeta inadvertently fuel the rebellion, and the Mockingjay pin she wears becomes its symbol. District by district, the citizens of Panem begin to stage uprisings against the capital. Snow announces a special 75th edition of the Hunger Games known as the Quarter Quell, in which Katniss and Peeta are forced to compete with other past victors, effectively canceling the wedding. Katniss believes that Peeta should survive these games instead of her, and dedicates her life to saving him. Peeta, in turn, dedicates his life to saving her, and they both acknowledge the other's opposite intentions. At Haymitch's urging, the pair teams up with several other tributes and manages to destroy the arena and escape the games. Katniss is rescued by rebel forces from District 13, and learns that the capital has captured both Peeta and their District 7 ally, Johanna Mason. Katniss ultimately learns to her surprise that she had inadvertently been an integral part of the rebellion all along. Her rescue had been jointly planned by Haymitch, Plutarch Heavensbee, and Finn Nicodere, among others. At the knowledge that Peeta has been captured and will now be tortured and killed, Katniss is furious and loses the will to live. Gale informs her that the capital has destroyed District 12 in retaliation. After some hesitation, Katniss joins the rebels. Mockingjay, the third and final book in the Hunger Games series, was released on August 24, 2010. Most of the districts have rebelled against the capital, led by District 13 and its president Alma Coin. The capital lied about the district being destroyed in the dark days. After a standoff with the capital, the District 13 residents took to living underground and rebuilding their strength. The District 12 survivors find shelter with them. Katniss also learns that Peeta is alive and is being tortured and forced to speak on national television discouraging the rebellion. She agrees to become the Mockingjay, the symbol of the rebellion. In return, she demands immunity for Peeta, Johanna Mason, Annie Cresta, and Enobaria, fellow Games victors captured by the capital. Katniss also demands the privilege of killing President Snow herself. When Katniss realizes that the capital will keep torturing Peeta as long as she fuels the rebellion, she has a panic attack and loses the ability to function as the Mockingjay. A rescue mission is mounted that succeeds in rescuing Peeta, Johanna, and Annie. However, Peeta has been brainwashed to kill Katniss, and he tries to choke her to death upon their reunion. He undergoes experimental treatment to try to cure him. Katniss does not have hope for his recovery, and decides to give her all to the rebellion and die in the process. Throughout the novel, Katniss sees how ruthless Gale is. He does not seem to value human life as much as she does. He feels no sympathy for the enemies to the rebellion, and he feels fine with torture and murder, even of innocent civilians, to advance the rebellion. She struggles to reconcile this with the fact that she still cares for Gale. Amid her crushing loneliness and her PTSD, she kisses Gale, but he says that the kiss is not real as it is like kissing someone who's drunk. After she recovers from Peeta's attack, Katniss and a team known as the Star Squad, composed of Gale, Peeta, Finnick, a camera crew, and various other soldiers, are assigned to film propaganda in relatively quiet combat zones. Katniss, however, decides to go to the capital to kill Snow, pretending Coin gave her that mission. Peeta still struggles with his brainwashing, but he is in recovery and is still in love with Katniss. Most of the squad are killed along the way, including recently married Finnick. As Katniss approaches Snow's mansion, she sees a group of capital children surrounding it as human shields. Suddenly a hovercraft drops silver parachutes on the children, who reach for them, hoping they bear food. Some of the parachutes explode, creating carnage. The advancing rebels send in medics, including Primrose Everdeen. Then the rest of the parachutes explode, killing Primrose just as she sees her sister. Later, Katniss, also injured, awakens from a coma to learn that the rebels have won, and Snow is awaiting execution at her hands. When she meets Snow by chance, he claims that it was Coin who secretly ordered the bombings in order to strip away the support of his remaining followers. This bomb also matches the description of the one Gale was helping to devise, and she breaks off her friendship with Gale. Coin then asks the surviving victors to vote on a final Hunger Games, involving the children of high-ranking capital officials, including Snow's granddaughter. In order to gain Coin's trust, Katniss and Haymitch cast the deciding votes in favor of the scheme. However, at what is supposed to be Snow's execution, Katniss instead kills Coin with her bow. Snow laughs, then dies. Katniss attempts to commit suicide, but Peeta stops her and she is instead arrested. Katniss is tried, but the jury believes she was mentally unfit, and she is sent home to District 12. Both Katniss's mother and Gale take jobs in other districts. Peeta regains his sanity. Katniss settles down with him, and the two grow back together. After many years, she finally agrees to have children. They have a girl and then a boy, who grow up in a world without the Hunger Games. To cope with her lingering PTSD, Katniss often spends time recounting every kind deed she has ever witnessed anyone do. Prequel: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Set 64 years before the Hunger Games events, it tells the story of the dark days which led to the failed rebellion in Panem. It follows Coriolanus Snow when he was 18 years old. Collins stated that the book would also explore the 10 years after the end of the war, where the people of Panem try to get back on their feet and figure out how to go on within their new reality. The book was released on May 19, 2020.